This segment brought to you by Kansas Farm Bureau, the voice of agriculture. To join today or for more information, go to kfb.org or find us on Facebook and Twitter.
Last week we did a rerun from a segment that Frankie and I did a couple of years ago on the ghost at the State House. So this week, Michelle is continuing with the theme of the State House, but a very, very different story. And this is one that's kind of near and dear to our hearts as Civil War historians. And I'm really thrilled that she could share it with you this morning. Good morning, Michelle.
Good morning, Deb, and happy October. This month, I want to look at the spooky, odd, and unusual side of Kansas history. Today, let's begin by meeting a man who was definitely all three. Thomas Boston Corbett. He was born in London, England in 1832 and came to America seeking a better life. A personal tragedy, the death of his wife and child, drove Thomas Corbett to a Boston religious revival meeting. Changing his name to Boston, Corbett found a home for himself spiritually. With the eruption of the Civil War, Corbett joined the Union Army to help eradicate slavery. While a soldier, Corbett spent time as a prisoner of war in the infamous Andersonville prison. After his release, he returned to active duty, and with the assassination of President Abraham Lincoln, Corbett would find himself on the trail of the nation's most wanted fugitive, John Wilkes Booth. As Corbett's unit surrounded Booth in a tobacco barn on the Garrett farm, Booth refused to surrender. On April 26, 1865, Corbett peered through a gap in the barn wall, raised his weapon, and fired. Booth died from his wounds later, and Corbett said that God avenged Abraham Lincoln's death. Instead of being branded a hero, Corbett was arrested for disobeying orders and faced court-martial. Eventually, he was released and made his way to Kansas in 1878. Rural Cloud County proved an ideal location for Boston Corbett to escape the world. He lived in a small dugout, and locals said he kept to himself, always had a rifle in hand, and refused to speak of the events that made him famous. In 1887, Corbett was given the job of the assistant doorkeeper of the Kansas House of Representatives. He wore his army holster and pistol while on the job. But one day in 1887, Corbett overheard lawmakers chatting. He believed their comments were blasphemous. He brandished his weapon, and what happened next is the stuff of lore. Some say he held the legislators hostage. Others claimed he fired shots, while others said he barred the door and lectured the lawmakers. After being arrested, Corbett was declared insane and committed to the Topeka Insane Asylum. Corbett's story did not end behind the walls and doors of the asylum. In May 1888, Corbett made a daring escape. While out walking with other patients, he spied a horse hitched near the asylum entrance and borrowed it to make his escape. Riding south, Corbett vanished. Boston Corbett sightings kept Kansas authorities busy. He was sighted in Neodesha and was said to be en route to Mexico. He was later seen in the Indian Territory selling patent medicine. Imposters posing as Corbett cropped up trying to claim his pension, while authorities in Minnesota claimed he died in a fire. To this day, no one knows what became of Boston Corbett's, Lincoln's odd avenger. I hope you enjoyed today's look at Boston Corbett, and you'll join me next time for another historical adventure somewhere around Kansas.
I really appreciate your sharing your time with me. You have a great week, and in the meantime, I'll see you somewhere around Kansas.
Closed captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com.
In 1821, a trade route was opened from Missouri in the United States across prairies and mountains to Mexico. In 2021, we will mark 200 years of epic conflicts and grand adventures, larger-than-life personalities, and sweeping landscapes. Join us on an historic journey. The Santa Fe Trail lives on.
Find us on social media or santafetrail.org. Highways 40, 83, and I-70 come together right here in Oakley. Roads that lead to businesses, to magnificent rock formations, to scenic vistas, to places where legends were made. Roads that lead us home. Discover Oakley, the gateway to western Kansas.
Okay, looks like it's time for our tour. Welcome to the Fort Wallace Museum. Here at the museum, you're going to find some really interesting stuff like our replica stagecoach from the Butterfield Overland Dispatch. We've got facades from the fort buildings. We've got an 1870s flag. There's a plesiosaur that was discovered locally. We've got the Ray pump organ collection. We're a little bitty place with a great big story, and we'd love to have you.